harmful to society and the animals that are involved and all of these things, so much so that I wouldn't want that person walking the streets as a law-abiding citizen. I just wouldn't. And so I don't think anyone else could stand up and say, you know what, that's fine. They should get out in a couple of years. Like, stop.
Well, when you got that many related charges, you know that 92 of them are going to get, knocked off.
Well, that's true. And you know that there's another 500 that they never knew about.
Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh my dog, hey.
Oh my dog, hello.
We are back.
Back again.
And it is a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It got real thick real quick.
This is how I like it.
Really?
Generally,
I love the heat. I'm not so much for the sticky humidity.
I am a fan of thick air, thick men, thick, whatever. I like all of those things. I'm obsessed with any sort of humidity. And the fact that I walked out today and I'm like, oh my gosh, do I breathe the air and feel it a little bit in my lungs? Because, I'm ready. I love it.
Well, I looked outside and it looked cold. And then
I bundled up.
Outside. Yeah, I know. I put a hoodie on. And then I took one step outside, let the dogs out. And I'm like, whoa.
I know.
This isn't going to work.
I went out this morning super early before I left for work to let the dogs out. And I'm standing out there with them. And I have sweatpants and a sweatshirt and all the things. I'm like, whew, okay, I'm changing my whole outfit today.
Sauna.
Yeah. But then, of course, you work inside the air conditioning all day. And, well, I do. Maybe not in your hoop barn.
Not at all.
No. But anyway, I love the heat and I am so ready for summer. I have so many summer concerts to go to. I'm very excited about that. Lots of things to look forward to.
Excellent. Well, today we're going to talk about some dogs in the news. We've got quite a few articles stacked up that we want to kind of buzz through.
Yes.
We have a very important topic of note regarding the animal torture bill that I think you've probably seen on our Facebook page, SF2099. We're going to walk through that really quickly, or not. And should there be any time left at the end of the episode, we'll do some topic roulette.
Yes, but I think we're going to have plenty of topic roulette because oddly enough, I have a kind of developed after 2020. I said, you know what? I'm not watching the news anymore. I don't want to know what happens. I just would like to remain stupid to what's happening on this planet because it just makes me sad, right? However, things pop into your news feed or whatever, and a lot of dog-related topics, a lot of bad things that have happened, but a few happy ones too. So we've got a little sprinkling of articles that we're going to read through. So.
Ignorance is bliss.
Sometimes it freaking is. And then, we roll up to war and people are like, can you believe what's happening in Iran? I said, huh? What do you mean?
What happened?
Shoot.
I know.
Yeah, terrible. But anyway.
And the other thing is you can't, believe half the shit that you read anyway.
Oh my goodness. No kidding. And I, very well, can't read a full-fledged article and retain what I've read. So it's best I don't anyway.
And no shade to any writers out there, I guess, but
listen, I went to journalism school and I learned all of the rules and mechanics and all of the things. Ain't nobody following no rules anymore. It's all clickbait. It's all just trying to get you to hit on whatever article and blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So anyway, hopefully we can give you a quick smattering highlight for those of you who are just interested in dog related news, much like myself. So anyway,
where would you like to start?
Well, I think you have been spending a lot of time. I have been following along and saying, yeah, go get them about this this bill, right? And you've heard us talking about it. We went to the Humane Lobby Day. Holly went back and followed up, and we talked about her. Did we talk about when you went back, or did we just say you were going back? Have we said about what happened when you went?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I think we should talk about that again as a relation to this. So I will just
I
put.
think the last time we recorded was the Monday before I went
Yeah,
down
I
there.
don't think we've talked about you actually
Correct.
going down there.
Was that
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Okay. So I would like a rundown of what happens when, I'm just a Bill, Holly rolls up the steps of the Capitol and what happened there, what we're fighting for, what all people who care at all about animals in our state are fighting for right now. And we've got literal days left. So this is going to be super timely. And if you listen to this a month from now, it probably won't matter. But hopefully those of you that are listening days from now will get on board and help us help the animals in our state. So
Hopefully it won't matter because it was passed.
oh my gosh, I hope so. Anyway, take it away.
Okay, well, I'll just quickly run through the bill then.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure where this was going to land in the podcast, but
Yeah.
okay, so this is SF 2099. It passed the House of Representatives unanimously now 6 weeks ago, probably.
Forever.
Long time ago. It has bipartisan support. The majority of constituents support it. It's been held up in the Senate ever since by a very small subset of senators that have concerns about how it overlaps, which it doesn't, shocker, with the ag industry.
Right.
So SF 2099 states that they're trying to amend a section in the Iowa Code, and it says a person is guilty of animal torture if the person intentionally or knowingly crushes, burns, drowns, suffocates, impales, or otherwise subjects an animal to serious injury or death, or causes, directs, or provides anything of value to another person to do the same. So if they do these things or pay somebody to do these things. A person who commits animal torture, as I just described, is guilty of a Class D felony. Currently, as it stands now, that person is guilty of an aggravated misdemeanor. So they're trying to up it from an aggravated misdemeanor to a Class D felony, which every other state in the country convicts animal torture as a felony. So we're the only ones that are behind the ball and can't seem to get it together.
Right.
Also, it is important to note that if a person is convicted currently of animal torture and receives the aggravated misdemeanor and then is convicted of it again, then they are guilty of a Class D felony. So they got to do it twice.
Cool.
Right?
Makes a lot of sense.
An aggravated misdemeanor comes with, in our experience, not much, but it can come up to 2 years in prison. So, this would up that to up to 5 years. Now, all of that can be decided by a judge, whether it's, time served or probation or community service or whatever they decide
Yeah.
they're going to sentence it to. But, so yeah, the concern amongst some of the more ag-leaning senators and some of the concerns that we have heard are, well, what if I'm a farmer and I have to humanely dispatch my dog? My dog's old or it's sick or got hit by a tractor, got run over by a truck, and it's suffering, and I need to euthanize it myself. Am I going to be convicted of a Class D felony? Well, no.
Right.
Unless you crush it, burn it, drown it, suffocate it, impale it.
Shoot it on video and make money on the internet off of that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Nobody's going to do this that doesn't deserve a felony.
Right.
You know what it's not just like, oh, whoops, I tripped and kicked my dog and somebody saw it and things got misconstrued. No. It's going to be a very clear, cut and dry torture.
Right.
Which is a big word.
Which they also, in this bill, in the amendment, before it read, knowingly inflicts on an animal severe and prolonged or repeated physical pain that causes the animal serious injury or death. So they're nixing that very vague, undescript situation and being very specific about what animal torture means by saying crushes, burns, drowns, suffocates, impales, and whatnot. So I think that's the other important part, is that we're getting clarity around what animal torture is,
like the definition.
The definition of it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I went back to the Capitol. It'll be 2 weeks ago Wednesday, and you can go up to the rotunda, and you fill out this little slip of paper with your name and the time and who you want to talk to and what you want to talk to them about and your phone number, and then you go up to this little Wizard of Oz window and you give it to some intern and you ring the bell and they say, okay, thank you. And they take it and they give it to the person that you want to talk to. And the person reads it and then they decide whether they can see you, they'll come out and talk to you. If they want to send a message back, they can, or they can just ignore you. So when I did that, I put first I put one slip in and then I was like, I'm just going to.
Yeah, let me just stack
I'm
them
just going
up.
to write them all. So
Yeah.
I put in two more. I wanted to talk to my senator, Jesse Green. I wanted to talk to Majority Leader Mike Clemish.
Mm-hmm.
And I also wanted to talk to Senator Sweeney, who is very much involved in the ag side of things and has a long history in ag-related business and has been expressly opposed to any animal rights bill for a long time. None of them came out to see me. But Jesse did come out, and it appeared to me as though he was taking a phone call. Now, in hindsight, I feel like maybe he was kind of trying to scout me out. I can't say for sure or not, so I'm not gonna. But he knows who I am.
Right.
I have his phone number. We're on a first name basis. It's
Tiny little spicy woman in a business suit jacket. What does she want from me?
But when he walked out, like he looked at me and I looked at him and I thought he was like coming out to talk to me. So I like got up and he just kept walking. I was like, oh, okay. Well, he has to walk back in through these doors. There's no other way. So I'm just going to stand here. So he finally comes back after he takes his fake phone call. He comes back up the stairs and I said, did you get my note? And he goes, I don't know. I haven't been back to my desk yet. I said, okay, well, I would like to talk to you about SF2099. And he was like, well, what do you want to talk about? I said, well, all of it, I guess.
Like,
why?
what's the problem?
What's
Let's
the
roll.
issue?
Yeah.
He goes, well, and I've talked to Jesse about this multiple times. I've followed up with him. I've made sure that he has all the information he needs to make a decision, all of the things. And he said, well, that I support it. And I said, okay, what can we do to get your colleagues to also support it? He's like, well, this and that, whatever. Nothing of any value. And I said, well, that's not really cutting it, Jesse. We were all here last week to talk to you guys, and you guys adjourned that morning. Before we even got here, you left. And I said, that's why I'm back here today. And he said, well, I just don't. He kind of got flustered, and I kind of got flustered. He goes, I just don't know what more you want me to do. I said, get me in a room with these people.
Right. Tell me,
tell me who I need to talk to.
Exactly.
Tell me what he goes, well, you and I, we've talked, I support. I said, but Jesse, that's obviously not enough.
Like,
I'm
these are your colleagues. Like, help me.
Right.
Help me. That's what.
And it kind of came to us, kind of a shootout, like standstill. And I said, well, Jesse, this has been very unhelpful. Thank you so much. And he's like, well, I just don't know what else you want me to do. I said, get me in a room with Mike Clemish.
Yeah.
And then I shut my mouth. Get me in a room with him. He's like, hang on. He goes over and he sends a text message, presumably to this guy. And then somebody else came up to talk to him. And I thought she worked there or something. No, she was just somebody else that wanted to talk to him.
Some other crazy lady at the door.
She came in on my time. And once I figured that, I was like,
Beach.
Whoa.
Come on.
I've been standing here. Anyway, no, it was fine. So then Jesse comes back over and he goes, okay, Majority Leader said you could come up. I'm like, come up where? What are we doing? Where are we going? Are you taking me to a dark room?
You taking me back to my room?
What do you mean?
So anyway, short story long, we went up 18 flights of stairs and then I tried to have a constructive conversation with Majority Leader while I was completely out of breath. Get your breathing under control, Holly.
If there's
I don't know how he got up there, but I guarantee you it wasn't through the stairs. There's a lot of steps, but I spoke to him just very candidly, and I said, this is what we want, and this is what I think the majority of your constituents want across the board, across the state of Iowa. And I am here to, speak to anybody that has concerns about it and have a conversation.
Yeah.
And I said, he said, well, I would, basically I asked him, who do I need to talk to? And he goes, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to
out the person.
Right.
Or whatever.
Which is probably professional and fair and all the things. But also I said, well, we are up against the clock here. We have until the 21st to get this done. And I don't want to waste my time and efforts or anybody else's time and effort by contacting people like you or like Senator Green here that already support it. I don't need to contact you guys anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need to sit here in front of you anymore. You guys are already on board. Who do I need to talk to? Mm-hmm. Because TikTok, we got shit to do.
We do. So do we have the names?
No.
We really don't.
I mean, we have ideas, but...
Mm-hmm. So... Before we dive into another topic related to this, I wanted to just call out and I'm going to share the links to all of the things we talk about in the podcast notes. But there is a letter to the editor that was written by someone who was with us at the Humane Lobby Day. And they basically stated everything that we have said, but I thought that it was well done or whatever. So I'm going to pull it up here and I won't necessarily
I would
read
just like to say, and I know some of our listeners are not going to, like this that much, but, Jesse Green, I wouldn't have gotten into that office without him. And that doesn't happen.
Right.
To get in majority leader's office.
Just from standing outside the door,
Yeah, that's not a normal thing to happen. So I am grateful for that. I will personally thank him once that this bill is passed. And if it doesn't pass, he's going to wish that it had.
Oh my God.
There's going to be so many people and so many messages and so many phone calls. It's just getting to the point where it's an uproar. It's going to be a big problem. And I think some of the articles you're going to go through are going to kind of construe that.
I can't even imagine as someone who has been given pause to any of this, and has seen all of the press in all of this, as someone who's an elected official is not you know what, I should probably just, let this. So my question is, and you might not know the answer to this, but you know more than I do. So fine. There's one or two people that are opposed. Cool. But then who's stopping it from going to vote? Because regardless of those two people, it would still pass, right? It has to be a majority to pass or whatever, right? Who's blocking it? Is it Mr. Clemish that is blocking it because he doesn't believe that everybody is on board, or what?
Majority Leader Clemish said that he would bring it back to the floor for a vote once he knew he had the votes.
We got the votes. What do you mean?
That's what I thought. That's what I said. So, but that signaled to me that he is not confident that he has the votes. Now, a senator could go for a walk,
right? We've
while
said
this
that.
vote is happening,
which I love. The idea of,
but whether they are in support or not.
So
if
people
enough
that are
people are
it's fine, but they weren't there that day or whatever. They went to go to the bathroom and they missed it.
Right. Then I don't know. I think what's happening. I know what's happening is just a lot of politics. Is nobody wants to put a vote down. Nobody wants to show their cards.
Yeah.
They just want to fold without showing.
Yeah.
Which
is such BS, but really tracks for everything that I understand about our
it's
system.
I just don't understand. This is where the huge gap for me is
why can't we just try it?
If your concern was that your constituent farmer that euthanizes his dog is going to go to jail, okay, that's not a thing. That's not how that works. So what else is your concern? Mm-hmm. What else is your concern? What else is your concern? Because I cannot find in the depths of my thought process here a reason to
Neither can 49 other states. You know what I mean? Like, this
Yeah.
is so stupid.
And we'll talk more about this too, but there's this very, very strong correlation between people that abuse animals and then later go on into domestic abuse situations,
Or worse. It's
child abuse, and
very true.
all of that's, murder. And I mean, there's a lot of information and research on that kind of thing. So it's kind of best to stop it before it gets that far.
Well, or
I
at least
guess.
put it to a vote and it fails. Don't make us live without
Well,
knowing.
that's what
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I would rather it vote. I would rather it come to a vote and fail, so I know
So we
who
can adjust
voted
the bill,
against it.
and we can adjust the bill next time to like make those people feel more comfortable, right?
I just don't know what you would adjust.
I
What are
don't
you going
either.
to adjust?
I don't either, but here we are.
You don't want crushing in the definition? Why wouldn't you want crushing in the definition? Why would you be opposed to having that in the definition?
Yeah, I don't.
Are there animals being crushed to death in your district?
Yeah,
Is that
wild.
Maybe is that something we need to look into? I don't.
Yeah, and we like that. That's good for everybody.
No.
Cool. Yeah. So anyhow, I'm going to share this letter to the editor so you guys can all read it. I mean, I think Holly has articulated it quite well and also has had the opportunity to actually speak with some of the people who can make a difference. But they do a really good job in this letter of just very simply saying exactly that, right? Like, this is very simple. Everybody wants it. All of your constituents want it. And also, this is going to decrease the amount of things that also are a felony, right? Like horrible abuse towards your partner or
Right.
abuse towards children or other violent acts. Like, if we can avoid that happening, if we see that this is happening towards animals, which we know for a fact, for those of us who listen to true crime, that it always starts with animals, right?
Well, and the other thing is even if somebody that tortures an animal now is convicted of animal torture, it's just a misdemeanor. So it doesn't have the same effect. Like,
Right.
It doesn't prevent.
That's what I'm saying. There,
I guess I
exactly.
don't know how, if it's a speeding ticket versus a seatbelt ticket.
Mm-hmm.
I try, let's put it in layman's terms here. I'm going to take the seatbelt ticket all day long because it's not going to affect my insurance, right?
Right.
You're going to take the aggravated misdemeanor over a felony all day long because it's not going to affect your right to vote, your ability to get a job.
True.
All of these things. So it really prevents our prosecutor from convicting these people of what they should. I mean,
and help and like protecting their future victims. To
Right.
be honest, like, come on.
So it really just comes down to I think everybody agrees that animal torture is bad,
Right.
and nobody wants that to happen. So it really comes down to how do they want it to be convicted? How do they want it to be addressed?
Right. Yeah.
That's really what's happening. I don't
Yeah.
think that anybody in the Senate or anywhere is going to say, I think a little bit of animal torture is okay.
Only on Saturdays.
Right. Right. I think it's Sundays. That's
Oh.
when it's allowed. But anyway, yeah. So there's that. You're going to be seeing some things kind of
sorry.
rapid fire
I did-
coming from us just regarding this. But
Did double check and look up. All it requires is a simple majority, 26 out of 50 to pass
holy
legislation.
shit, we got that.
That's-
Right?
I mean, that's just,
Unless a lot of people go pee. And I'm here to say there's not that many stalls at the Capitol.
I don't know. I thought maybe I had it like that. I misunderstood it because when he said that, I was like, well, what? Wait a minute. Don't you only need?
Yeah. Literally over 50%, right?
And don't the Republicans hold the Senate right now?
I think so.
They hold everything. Yeah, they do.
So,
Yes.
not a great look for the Republican Party.
It's asinine is what it is. So anyway, so here's my other question that is just a dumb Debbie or dumb Darla or whatever we were calling it question is so they say, contact your representative. Well, okay, cool. We know, like, I know my representative is good, right? Mm-hmm. Holly talked to him before we even knew it was a representative. Not really, but she did talk to a Polk County representative and
Who
didn't
was it?
know it.
Oh, yeah. That was funny. I saw him again on Wednesday, too. I was like, hey. And he looked at me and I was like, remember me? I was here last week. And he just kept walking. I was like, you don't have to be weird about it, bro.
Jeez, man.
God.
Woof. Anyway, but could we, I wish we could like really narrow down who these people are. Like, because to me, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be having the masses contacting their representatives who already say, yeah, it's fine. Leave me alone. I will vote if you put it up.
Well, I think the thought process behind that is that
They will talk to their buddies.
Yes. Even if they already support it, they're gonna when they're in the bathroom talking about this stuff, they're gonna say, oh my God, bro, I've gotten 8 million phone calls. Make it stop. Let's get this done already.
Yeah.
Like, give it up. We got to do this.
Right.
I don't know.
That's true.
I just feel like
pressure.
every point of contact helps. However, I will say this. I was made aware that senators get a lot of canned emails, and by that I mean somebody says,
which I
email
totally
your
get.
legislator here and say this. And so then that person gets 8,000 emails that all say the same thing.
And do you know what
Literally
I do
say the same thing. They
Yes.
copy, paste it. It says the same thing. And then I also found out that groups that have support, like let's say we stand with this group, and that's where we support this group, and we give this group our email address. Well, I found out that these groups are taking all these email addresses and sending emails from those email addresses, like
on their own, like through like a site or
I assume when you sign some sort of
petition
opt-in,
online or whatever,
whatever it is, then
and it's the same.
The
email
fine print
over
is
and over.
saying we're going to use your email address to, do whatever the hell we want with it. And then they send out mass email to the senator or to whoever needs to be contacted. They're sending it, but it's from your email address, so it's a unique email, but it all says the same thing.
Okay, grand idea. I'm going to loop back. This is called a circle back, right? Remember when we were talking about naming your dog?
Loop around.
A loop around, a wrap around.
A wrap around.
A wrap around.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that 1%.
Okay, so remember we were talking about like your dog and their name and the nickname or whatever. How about everybody that hears this sends a message to your representative, and this might be a horrible idea and you can tell me, but in the subject it says a message for Pookie Fluffkins or whatever your dog's like nickname is or name is, that's just kind of goofy and off the wall, so the people are gonna be like, what is this? Like, why do I have this? Like,
and I got some insight on that too, on how these representatives handle their incoming mail, whether that be email or message, like physical mail or phone calls. They kind of group them all together. And I can imagine if I was a senator and I was getting 8,000 emails a day, and I would just group them, like, this is in regards to this bill, this is in regards to this bill, and I would just like folder them and not even read them, and just whichever folder,
and then your
has the most
assistant or page
emails,
or whatever sends the same canned response to everybody in that folder.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know how they deal with it, but I know that unless it has depth, sincerity, information, like a heart to heart. Like when I posted it on my Facebook, I was like, you need to contact them, but don't just contact them and say, I want you to support SF2099.
Yeah.
Sincerely, Joe Blow. Like,
yeah.
And right, wrong, or indifferent, I feel like that's really all we need to do, because I feel like these people are elected to represent us, and you don't need to understand the whys and the what fors. And
we already know no heartstrings
but
can be pulled because they've already sold them away.
I know, but if that's what it takes, then that's what it takes.
Underworld.
Sit down, spend 5 minutes, write out a message.
It can't hurt, whatever direction or approach you want to take. But anyway.
What I really wanted to say is but I was worried that I would get arrested is because I was worried that it would come across as a threat, and it's not a threat at all. I'm just putting this out there as an example. Let's say somebody stole Boop tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like off your front porch, and they took her and they put her on YouTube and crushed her to death.
Oh my God. I would.
And I want to say this to a senator, like,
Right.
so Senator Green.
Do you have a
Do you have a
dog?
dog?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah.
Rufus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how old's Rufus? Well, he's 10 years old. He's a great big chocolate lab. He's 80 pounds, and I, rescued him from the ARL. Whatever. Yeah. Cool. What if somebody stole him tomorrow and took him out and
stepped in his eyeball with a high
impaled
heel
him,
in front of,
stabbed him with a sword, and then lit
made
him
a
on
bunch
fire.
of money on the dark web with it?
Even didn't record it. Even if it didn't.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. How would you feel about that? Not great, right? And what would you want to happen to that person?
Mm-hmm.
Legally, what would you want to happen to that person?
Right.
You'd want them to go to jail. You'd want them to be punished. You'd want them to not have access to ability to be able to do that again or own an animal again.
Right.
Or, all of those things. No, none of that's going to happen. They're going to get a slap on the wrist and maybe $100 fine.
Yes.
And an aggravated misdemeanor. Maybe.
Yeah.
If it sticks.
Garbage. I mean, valid, right? And it's the same as any other thing that is a felony. It's bad enough that it needs to be something that sticks with you for life.
Yeah.
Because you made that choice to do something that is so unconscionable that
hopefully the penalty is bad enough that
matches the crime.
it makes you think, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be a felon.
Right.
I don't want to have a felony on my, that's why people don't murder people. Well, I'm not going to kill this guy because then I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life.
That's saved me time and time again. But really, I mean, honestly. So you're going to see some stuff coming from us, and we'll be sharing more things over the course of the next, until we know for sure this has either gone to vote or not. And so please continue to share, and please continue to reach out to either your senator or perhaps a senator who you suspect may not support this bill, right? You can email them all. It doesn't matter.
The switchboard to contact your legislator is 515-281-3371. So that's the phone number that you can call and take you to switchboard, and they will send you to the right senator, and then you can leave them a message. You can also go to legis, legis.iowa.gov, and you can find your legislator there. You'll put in your address or your zip code. It'll pop up with who your senator is, for your district, who your representative is, their information, their email address, their business address if you want to write them a letter, and again, that capital phone number 515-281-3371. So just give them a call, leave them a message, send them an email. You can go to the Capitol just like I did. Anybody can do that. You'll enter on the south side of the Capitol. You'll go through a quick little security screening. You walk through like you do at the airport.
Yep. Very friendly people that
and
offer you an entrance to the Capitol.
You can go right upstairs and do exactly the same thing I did. And then you're going to stand there and you're going to wait. And you're going to wait. And you're going to wait. The thing that pissed me off the most about all of this business is the Senate has adjourned on Thursdays at 10 a.m. for like the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
Until Monday.
So you're telling me we've got time. We have extra time that they could be hanging out for another 30 minutes to put this to vote. How long does it take to vote one single thing if it's already all set up, queued up? Like you say it, you read the thing, everybody raises their yay or nay, and it's done, right? Like what the flork is the problem?
I don't know. I feel like we have a high misunderstanding of this, but honestly, how hard can it be? It can't be that hard.
If anyone gets forwarded this podcast and is a lawmaker and can explain to us what the freaking problem is here and why this is taking so long, I'd love to just know. So I understand the process. I just don't get it.
Honestly.
But anyway.
It might be worth a listen.
Well, we wanted to talk a little bit about like why we're so passionate about this before we dive into our kind of high level other news stories that we've seen pop up. One of which was an article that came out that directly connected, and we've already alluded to this, but directly connected domestic violence to acts of animal torture, right? People who are actively torturing animals most likely are going to
It was in the Des Moines Register.
increase their like intensity of crimes to then directly affect other human beings, right? So it starts with the torture of animals, and then it escalates to the abuse of humans or the killing of humans even. And, you know, I lightly said this, but like, if you look back at any of the history of some of the most famous serial killers on the planet or in the United States, right? Every single one of them has a couple of things in common. One of them is that they were all bedwetters. I don't know why, but it's a thing, right? The other is, and that might be a relation to past trauma, right? A lot of these people were abused themselves, which is the cycle that we're all trying to freaking stop, right? And the third is that they're all in their youth or at some point in their lives noted to have tortured animals. And I'm not saying that they kicked their dog or whatever. I'm saying that they physically tortured, abused, maimed, killed animals for their own entertainment and pleasure, right? And so you're telling me that something that's directly related to abuse of humans, whether that ends up being something as huge as a serial killer or not even small, I shouldn't say small, but like from the beginning of like domestic abuse, which is another gateway thing, right? Like domestic abuse then escalates into worse crimes even then, even though that's a horrible crime. You know, it's all directly related. So even if you don't give a shit about Fido, like, do you care about your neighbor or your daughter or, you know, the person down the street who is living with somebody who has these tendencies, like, and you're going to just let them get away with nothing from the beginning of what will be a really bad cycle, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's all very directly related and connected.
It was an article in the Des Moines Register just recently, yesterday actually, by Tiffany Allison. She is a survivor of domestic violence and a victim advocate. She wrote an opinion to the editor, pass animal cruelty bill to rein in domestic violence. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can find it on the DesMoinesRegister.com.
We will post the link.
She says, when an animal is tortured in a home, it is not an isolated act. It is part of a pattern. It is often a rehearsal for greater violence or a weapon used to emotionally destroy the people trapped in that environment. So we've seen this. We've heard it time and time again where, you know, the aggressor will beat on the dog in front
hurt
of
the person,
in front of the, you know, abused to, you know, hurt them.
Yeah.
She goes on to say, children who see animal abuse do not forget it. Survivors do not forget it. The sound, the fear, the helplessness, those things live in the body long after the moment is over. Animal torture leaves massive trauma behind. There was a really good part of this article I wanted to people want to look away because this is ugly, because this is disturbing, because this forces us to confront a level of cruelty most people don't want to believe exists. But survivors don't have the luxury of pretending. We know what violence sounds like behind closed doors. We know how often the world misses the signs. We know how often people dismiss dangerous behavior until there is a dead woman, a traumatized child, or a headline everyone suddenly wants to care about. By then, it is too late. So she says, she's basically saying, you know, animal torture, animal abuse is a very clear
Gateway
signal.
crime.
Yeah,
You know?
it's a red flag. It's
Yeah.
a not to be taken lightly situation, because the next time it's not going to be an animal.
Right.
You know, so.
Yeah. And all of that is completely valid and believable and provable by the history of crimes in our country. So anyway, the other one article that I wanted to bring up in relation to this was a horrible thing, which would fall under this act. And I can't believe that this came out in this month where we're really trying hard to get this pushed, and this hasn't just pushed everybody over the edge, right? So Des Moines, Iowa, a man was charged with bestiality last month. And I don't even like saying that word with my phone on because it's going to like serve me up with some crap. But according to Des Moines Police Department, the case began in June 2025 when detectives received a tip reporting a possession of egregious child. I don't even want to say that word. Bad child graphics, along with animal bad graphics, right? Like on his computer. An investigation led officers to a residence where a search warrant was executed. The DMPD said that during the execution of the search warrant, evidence was found that appeared to show a man engaging in very bad, inappropriate activity with a dog. Shortly after the search of the home, officers arrested this Derek Hartline, 32, charged him with 1 count of bestiality and aggravated misdemeanor. Hartline was booked in Polk County Jail at the time. On Wednesday, they announced that additional charges had been filed after it said that evidence of child crimes and other material had been discovered related to the charges that he was already given in the investigation. Hartline was booked in Polk County Jail facing sexual exploitation of a minor, 3 counts, 17 counts on the first charge, and 5 counts of bestiality.
Disgusting.
Like, what? So you're telling me, I mean, obviously he's got the child things that are a bigger deal, but like, had they caught the other stuff, I guarantee that came first, and if it didn't, who cares? It's all equally horrible, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this is awful. Like, I don't even want to like out loud read this article, but I feel like we have to talk about that this is happening literally down the street, you guys. Like, it says the address. This is 5 minutes from my house. Like, come on. Like, that's garbage that this is even happening. And that even if he hadn't been grabbed for the other side of things, like the child side of things, right. Like if he had just been grabbed for like the crimes against the dog or whatever, like you're telling me that if that was his first time being picked up for that it would just been like a slap on the wrist and then like the rest of it could have just fallen in later. Like what? Like this is the ultimate example of that. It's going to get worse, and that if somebody that's doing this kind of stuff is going to do other egregious things,
Yeah, and I don't think that changing this or passing this bill is going to stop this stuff from happening. I mean, I hope it'll
at least make somebody think,
give pause, but it just helps with the conviction and sentencing.
Right.
Give our lawmaker or our prosecutors, our lawyers, attorneys, give them the tools to make sure that these people pay appropriately for their actions. I mean, yeah, right over there.
Spilled. I'm drinking without a straw, and it. I got a line down my.
This humidity is making my glass sweat, and other things. Lord.
Oh, it's great. I'll take a glass sweat any day, as long as I'm not getting snowed and sleeted upon. But anyway, Anyway, that was there. I'd like to say that things are going to get better with the things we're going to talk about and that have popped up in the news. We're just going to talk a little shorter about those items. There's just some shitty people all over our state, and they're all over the country. But I feel like we need to talk about what is happening so that when the next session comes around, if there's something that can be done, that those of us who care can speak to those of us who can make a change and actually make a difference in, the rights of these animals and also, the safety of our communities.
My dad sent me an article a couple days ago. A man was sentenced to nearly 500 years in prison after authorities uncovered a large-scale dog fighting operation on his property. Sadly, more than 100 dogs were living in severe conditions, chained up and trained for violence.
Wow.
They also found equipment used to prepare the dogs for fighting. I don't want to know what that means. along with evidence that some were being bred to continue the cycle.
Oh, yeah.
Prosecutors laid out 93 dogfighting related charges, along with additional animal cruelty counts. Each conviction stacked years onto the sentence, bringing the total to 475 years. So this is my point. Like, it just helps with the prosecution so much.
Well, and the justice of like something like this, that's a huge operation, and that's a crazy amount of activity that is not only illegal, but it's like harmful to society and the animals that are involved and all of these things, so much so that I wouldn't want that person walking the streets as a law-abiding citizen. I just wouldn't. And so I don't think anyone else could stand up and say, you know what? That's fine. They should get out in a couple years. Like, stop.
Well, when you got that many related charges, you know that 92 of them are going to get, knocked off.
Well, that's true. And you know that there's another 500 that they never knew about. Right?
Right.
So, anyway.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, let's talk about a happier thing, and then we'll go to more unhappy things.
Do the canine one.
I'm going to. That's what I was clicking on. Let's get there. Okay. Iowa State University brings new canine unit on board. And let me tell you, he's perfect. Actually, I should find out if it's a he or she. One moment. Zach. A 2-year...
Still undetermined.
It's Z-A-K, Zazem, Z, whatever. Okay. Zach is a 2-year-old Belgian Shepherd. Adorable. And something about how he sits with his legs and his little feet. I am obsessed, and I would like him to serve my community. He's adorable.
So when they say Belgian Shepherd...
It's not a Belgian Malinois. It's a Belgian Shepherd. It's separate.
Belgian Malinois, German Shepherd mix, or is it a special type of Shepherd?
Let me look.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's different from a Belgian Malinois, but let's find out because I'm curious. Yeah, a Belgian Shepherd is different than a Malinois, right?
Okay.
I believe. Well, no, now it's showing both. Am I wrong? It's possible. I have been known 4 times to be wrong in my life.
Is a Belgian Shepherd the same as a Malinois?
So there's different. There's the Belgian Shepherd, and then there is the Belgian Malinois. There's the Belgian Tervan, which is longer, thicker coat. So
it's actually one of the 4 varieties of a Belgian Shepherd. The Belgian Malinois is a variety of the Belgian Shepherd.
It's probably a Belgian Malinois, regardless, which is a incredible working dog if you know what you're doing and it's been trained properly. They're wild. No individual human being who doesn't know what they're doing should own a Belgian Malinois, but Zach
says while they share similar intelligence and high energy, Malinois are generally more intense and athletic than other Belgian Shepherd varieties, making them preferred for police and military work.
Okay.
All right.
This one looks Malinois-y, but whatever. He's 2 years old. He or she, or they or them, is 2 years old. Oh, it's a boy. Okay. I think the first day was a little goofy just because he, being from Poland and then coming to Texas and then to Iowa, it's all very different for him. But since he's been back, he's been awesome. I mean, he's really comfortable on campus, which has been great. He's been to work everywhere. I haven't put him in a place where he hasn't been able to succeed, which is what his handler says. So Pace Setter Canine is the company the department worked with to find and train Zach, purchased him from a breeder in Poland. This thing is legit. He is ready for work and already had him trained on detecting odors related to the creation of explosive devices. So he's like there to make the campus quite literally like he's just walking around like bomb-proofing. I would say that makes me really freaking happy since I have someone that's going to be going to Iowa State this summer or fall or whatever. I've said before, he is 90% of the work and I'm 10%, which is what his handler says, this Farner. My 10% is to guide him in the right areas, but let him do all the work he needs to do. The company selected Zach for the university based on the attributes Farner said they were looking for. A good nose, a calm demeanor, the ability to work for a long time. While canine units for police departments outside of universities might be checking for cars or houses as a part of their work, Farner said Zach needs to be able to go through large event spaces with many people around. So this guy, he's top notch, right? Look at him.
I wonder
his little feet.
where they got him.
Poland.
I mean, like,
It's the company. It's this pace setter canine. They literally are like, that's their job, is they're like breeding and like selling these dogs for service, right? So like we talk.
Do you think they trained him before they got him?
Yes, he came pre-trained.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was expensive.
I was gonna say, I don't want to.
Like, I want to know what he cost. Listen, I just got my first like bill from Iowa State of what it's going to cost me for my kid to go to school. I think I paid for Zach.
Apparently, you have the right to ask because
that's true.
there's people that are asking right now as to how much it costs for the Iowa State football team to go to Ireland, and
yeah, they filed that under the
Well, it is a state-funded
Act, right?
university, right? So, like, I think we could probably find it out if we wanted to. Maybe we'll do a little deep dive research and find out how much Zach cost. I already tell you he's worth it based on his foot position in that photo. He's so cute. Okay. Special events on campus, football, basketball, all that kind of stuff. He's going to be patrolling there. They will continue to ask for the police department's aid on events that are like way too big for him to handle by himself, but he's going to be in charge of making sure that everything is safe. He has so much energy and he loves to play just like any other dog. He loves to tug, he loves to chase things and stuff like that, he says.
I wonder if the city of Ames has room for a microchip scanner station.
That we've been waiting for how long?
Free. We'll give it to you for free.
We should put one on campus, actually.
Well, I'm about to just go post one up at the library or something and
fluff it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
I'm
I love
a very
that.
patient person.
Neither of us are. We're not good at that. So anyway, I love that story. I love that the campus is going to be safer for Zach, and he's only 2, so he's going to be there for years to come. And I don't even care that the tuition I'm about to pay probably didn't even come close to paying for Zach.
I was looking at this other article while you were reading that one. Did they say where he sleeps at night?
No.
Like, does he get to
I
go
assume
home
he's with his handler. Yeah. Like, the guy talks about that he likes to play and whatever. I assume, but I don't know.
You know what story we should follow up on is that guy, that police officer from Boone County that had that canine that he forgot in his car.
There's been a couple of those in the area. There's one in Des Moines that happened too.
Really?
Yeah. We should follow up. I hope that guy has had a rough time.
Terrible. Oof. I mean, terrible for the dog, obviously, but God.
It was a mistake, but also like.
But was it really?
Dude.
I mean, 24 hours, you forgot about a dog?
That's a long freaking time. That's upsetting.
About that.
Yeah.
I mean, I am constantly counting my dogs. I'm like,
oh my gosh.
Yep.
Yep. Especially when it's like super cold or super hot. I'm like, did everybody count? Like, are we good? Everybody's here?
Yeah.
Ugh. Anyway, love that. So Zach, Z-A-K, he's cute. And don't try to pet him. He's working. So anyway, the other one that like caught my eye recently, which was kind of all over the place. There's a million articles about this, so I may have clicked on one that doesn't have as much detail, but we can look it up if we need more.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, well, did you find
that? No, these two were in direct relation to SF2099.
Oh, yeah.
The 26-year-old Kyra Johnson this is in Des Moines, faced charges after police discovered a heartbreaking scene. A dog had been locked in a kennel with no food, no water, and no vet care. Then, according to court documents, the dog's paws were taped together. It was placed inside a suitcase and left to rot in an outdoor shed. When found, the poor dog was decomposing.
So I assume it was...
This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was deliberate, prolonged cruelty that caused unimaginable suffering and death. Yet, under Iowa's current law, animal torture like this is still only an aggravated misdemeanor, not a felony.
How many times have we seen dogs that have had duct tape around their muzzle?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why does that keep happening? Why do you guys, your dog's barking is not going to be solved by duct tape around the muzzle, and you will go away, and hopefully away for a lot longer than what you would right now when this all gets passed. But my God, that is a common thing that I see. Yeah.
In the Council Bluffs area, dozens of dogs suffered extreme cruelty and neglect at Young Guns Kennel. Guns with a Z.
Of course. I already knew that.
And the prosecutor himself, county prosecutor himself, called the charges and I quote, crap.
Ugh.
In early 2018, investigators found 4 dead dogs at the unlicensed breeding and training facility near Hancock. 2 stuffed in trash bags, 1 shoved in a freezer, and another left decaying in a crate.
I give you 3 guesses as to what kind of dogs those were.
36 more were starved, dehydrated, and covered in feces, barely clinging to life. Pottawatomie County Attorney Matt Wilbur pulled no punches. These are crap charges, he said. He explained the 40 misdemeanor counts, 36 simple, 4 serious, were the best Iowa law allowed because felony charges for animal cruelty only kick in after a prior torture conviction.
Bullshit.
This was a horrible case. These dogs were starved. They were dehydrated.
That's crazy.
They were covered in feces. Some were dead. That's exactly why SF 2099 needs passed now.
Wow.
So even though he had all of those, 30,
it didn't matter
36 plus 4, because they all happened at the same time.
Yeah, they were all
if he would have gotten a charge, a week before, and that would have been an aggravated misdemeanor, then these other ones would have been felonies.
Yeah.
Which is also stupid.
My God. Seriously. Crazy. I don't understand it. Anyway, call your person.
Mm-hmm.
Other thing, which we're not going to get super deep into like the solutioning of this because I want this to be a separate podcast in and of itself. Holly will not be required to attend this event, but I recently agreed to be a part of a community outreach event, which is about teaching kids how to act around dogs.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. What she meant to say is I hope Holly doesn't come to this event.
I'm not inviting her is what I said. So,
good call.
Yeah. So my thought is that as someone who goes to a place where the public is generally invited to be around my dogs, I want people to understand how their children should act around dogs, let alone the fact that one of the number one reasons we are approached about taking a dog is because, I had a child and the dog's not acting right. Some of that is how you condition the dog and set up the dog's surroundings and environment to be able to appropriately interact with a child. Secondly, and most importantly, is how you train your child to interact and be around the dog, right? So I think this is important. As much as I don't really want to spend my afternoon with 14 6-year-olds, I feel like it's an important community service and I will do my part and I will bring Boop along to teach them nice and bad touches for dogs.
She has volunteered to be tribute.
Yes, I will, because I believe it's important and I see the need in the community. Okay.
Yeah. Whenever we get questions on applications like, well, is the dog good with kids?
Answer.
Is your kid good with dogs?
Right. So anyway, this comes because of an article that hit news and it blew up nationwide. I saw it popping up all over the country. In a single day in Des Moines, an infant was killed and a toddler was hurt in 2 very separate and unrelated dog attacks in central Iowa. In Des Moines, they say that it first happened, authorities were alerted after a dog injured a child. A press release states that the infant had a cardiac arrest and died on the scene after a German Shepherd mix and a Terrier Bulldog were impounded from the apartment. They are still investigating and waiting for forensic evidence to be examined for an autopsy, but clearly the dogs attacked the baby and then the baby died of the trauma of that attack. Crazy.
This just triggered my memory of a TikTok I saw about rage syndrome. Have you heard about this?
In dogs?
In dogs.
Or people?
In dogs.
No.
It's a rare, severe neurological disorder characterized by sudden, unprovoked, and violent outbursts of aggression.
Oh.
We should do this on another podcast.
Let's note that, type that down in a future thing because we can talk about Kiwi and that. And I would like to talk about the full cycle of that and we'll dive into that a little bit deeper because she for sure had that exact thing.
Yeah. But the video that I saw, it was like this girl who, it was obviously her dog. They were obviously cool. The dog was laying on her on the couch, like they were snuggling. There was covers involved, the whole thing. And she went to give the dog a kiss, and this dog just attacked her and would not quit.
Stop.
And her husband had to come in and tackle the dog.
Yeah.
But
I lived with a dog for an entire year that was like that. I had a bruise on my stomach from this dog biting me out of absolute freaking nowhere for 6 months, is like how deep the bruise was on my stomach from this dog biting me. And it was like literally you would see the dog looking at you, petting, shaking, like wagging tail, and then just nothing. And it would snap to be like that. Like absolutely. And I'm very good at picking out dog triggers. This was like something very severe and serious. And we do see this. So
Now, Kara, if that were to happen to you in your home and you had to act in defense and the dog ended up dead, would you be charged for a felony under SF 2099?
I would not.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that question.
No, I would not. So anyway, so that happened. And then the second incident happened just a couple days later in a hotel room. I'm willing to bet they were in this, well, I won't make inferences about people's situation, but in a hotel room, police say a dog bit a 2-year-old in the face. The child is expected to survive, which they did, but had serious facial injuries. And young children, they say, as a part of the press release, that young children are at increased risk for dog bites for a variety of reasons. They may not recognize the body language of an animal, which may be a warning sign before a bite occurs. Sometimes kids can frighten animals just by doing normal kid things. Mm-hmm. In fact, we had a foster who reached out about something that had happened with their grandson.
Yes.
They had a dog who had kennel aggression. So
which one is this?
Well, I don't want to say who the person is.
I thought you were talking about Kit.
Oh, no, not that one. Not a dog of ours, but just generally asking us advice about something that happened with their grandson.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, a dog had kennel aggression, and the child had been hanging around the kennel and had went to lift himself up and grabbed and put his hands inside the kennel to pull himself up. And then the dog turned and bit, and I think actually took off the end of a finger, right? Mm-hmm. But it was well known that this dog was otherwise pretty rock solid, but didn't do well if approached or the kennel was hit or...
The kennel was his space.
Right. He had been given that as his safe space, and he was very protective of it, right? So it was an unfortunate event. The child should not have been allowed around the kennel, but it happened because accidents happen and kids do things and they go in the area and people look away and shit happens. But the question was, does this dog deserve to die for this incident?
Yeah.
It's hard. And, our answer is always like, well, what situation could you put the dog in that would set it up for success so that this doesn't happen again, right?
My question was, if there wasn't a kennel between the dog and the kid,
what would have happened?
Did the dog just snap and the kid's finger happened to be there and now he can count to 9.5?
Right.
If so,
that's one thing.
That's unfortunate. And the kid will recover, and I'm guessing
have a
next
good story
time he
to tell.
won't put his hand in there the next time. But if there hadn't been the kennel there and that dog would have continually gone after the child,
would we be reading about it in this article, right?
So that's where I was with it. I was like, well, what level of aggression are we talking about here? Was this like a snap resource guarding, or was this a
attack?
We're lucky that the kennel was there.
Well, and I
asked, not, making arrangements.
The same question. I said, outside of the kennel guarding, do you feel comfortable with that dog ever encountering your grandson again?
Right.
And the answer was a little bit of a, well, yeah, but there is resource guarding for other items, right? And so then the question is, can we find a home? Not we,
Yeah, to be clear, this dog is not our dog. Under My Dog Rescue.
We're not taking this dog on at this point, and in the future, unlikely. But the question would be, do you imagine this dog thriving in any other environment? And if so, then maybe the answer is not euthanasia. If you feel like the dog is a risk to society and other humans and that this is going to be a repeated behavior, then there's your answer, right?
Because the last thing you want that headline to read is dog that previously bit off kid's finger kills his brother. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't want something to be...
No.
there was an obvious, clear warning sign, and you decided to deal with it.
No.
But,
it's a tough call.
It's so much easier to talk about somebody else's dog.
Yeah.
Like, if that had happened, like, if Stanley had, taken off my nephew's finger or something like that, like, I would have been like, you shouldn't have put your finger in there.
Right.
Well,
I mean, even at our house, we had a dog-on-dog fight that somebody's hand got in the way of, and like a pretty severe injury happened that ended up in being like a cellulitis, like having to have medicine and shots and all of the things. But we determined that it was a behavior issue between the dogs, and the human had gotten in the way, so this dog was not a danger to society per se. It was just a matter of changing his environment so that he was safer around other people and dogs and in our home. But that might not always be the case. You have to think about what that dog might encounter and whether or not it's worth it for that dog's quality of life. And I'm not talking about like day to day is that dog happy? I'm talking about, is that dog going to constantly feel on edge, and like, is there a risk in that environment and with that dog for the rest of its life? If so, that's not a quality of life to me. That's a behavioral euthanasia, which we do not take lightly. It's been very rare that we've ever had to do that, but like, you have to think about it that way, right? So, anyway.
Well, the best thing to do is to not let it get to that point in the first place,
right?
Which that's a whole nother backtrack, which a lot of people aren't even part of the initial track. So we can't hold everyone accountable to everything. But, in no world is it, I think we expect a lot of perfection out of dogs.
Yes.
You can't do this, and you can't potty in the house, and you can't have resource guarding, and you can't be, you can't shed, and you can't jump up, and you can't bark too much, and you can't, like all these things. And it's like, you know what?
How about we just find an environment that like fits that dog? And like there are some dogs that are just crossed wires, and it's not conducive to being on this planet and living with other humans, and that's fine. And like it is what it is.
You could say the same thing about humans.
Yep. Like
there's
people who commit animal torture,
and they are not, not a good fit for society.
Right. So, next article, I'll read through quickly just because I really love the idea of it and the fact that it can be passed statewide. In Council Bluffs, and this is at the end of last month, so March of 2026, a proposed ordinance would ban dog and cat ownership for people convicted of animal abuse whatsoever. Oh my God, yes.
Weird.
Please.
You'd think that would kind of be a write-in.
Holy crap. Why is this not a thing everywhere? But anyway, this is what do not adopt lists exist. But just to sidetrack, I wish that there was like a singular database for animal abusers across the country, if not just across the state.
Yes, I agree. We get alerts for, do not adopt on a lot of our rescue decision maker pages and whatnot. It's like, okay, well, we're likely never going to come across this person.
Right. So it's
they
hard.
Don't even live in our state, but also
what if
you don't want to miss it?
Right. Like
so
that
put them
sounds
on a list,
horrible. Yeah.
And then, are we making sure that list is cross-referenced every time we get an application? Like,
it's tough.
Oh.
Well, in fact, we took a dog out of a small county shelter that was pulled from someone who had clearly been abusing the dog and had been clearly abusing drugs, alcohol, had been convicted of abuse of other humans. And he had his friends apply for that dog multiple times trying to get it back because they passed it off to us to try and get it away from the situation.
And
luckily,
his girlfriend too, right?
His girlfriend applied for it. His friend applied for it. He reached out and said, I think this is my dog. I'd like it back. And we're like, dude, no. Like, so if we weren't diligent about that, the guy who got his dog taken away forcefully by police, given to, an animal shelter who then transferred to us, could have gotten his dog back. So you got to pay attention. But anyway, it says...
It scares the shit out of me.
Councilmember Cole Button is working to make sure they make the ban into law. Button said his ordinance would ban people convicted of serious misdemeanors against animals, which would eventually be felonies if this were passed, including abuse, neglect, torture, dogfighting from owning dogs and cats. We want Council Bluffs to be an area where we protect pets and we protect neighborhoods. Doi. Let's do it. Neighbors at the Valley View Dog Park said they support legislation, obviously. So anyway, I love that. And I love the idea of that we're fighting so hard for this state legislation, which is very, very important, but also remembering that we can make some differences locally too. So just remember that when you're talking to your local, representatives. Yeah. So I love that. I hope it all goes through. I can't imagine that it wouldn't, but I also never can imagine that it wouldn't when it comes to something like this. So he's going to introduce this at a city council meeting this month. So we'll see what happens. So anyway.
All right. Well, if you take nothing else from this podcast, please call, email, send a smoke signal to your senator.
Yes.
And let them know that you support SF 2099.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do some mass here.
Yeah, we need a lot of voices. We need a lot of passionate people to make this happen. And if it doesn't, I hope that the uproar is even bigger, because
if you want to go to the Capitol, if you want someone to go with you, call me. I'll go up there with you. I don't care.
Right. Holly
I
is
should probably go up there anyway.
They've been missing you. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So anyway, lots of things always happening in our state. Some of them good, some of them not so good, but all of them can be shared by those of us who care about animals, so that there's awareness for the good and the bad and what we would like to see happen in our state. So anyway, keep sharing it. And I know you're going to hear this and I know you're going to see some things from us, but please reach out to your lawmakers to let them know what you support and what we hope that they support for us. So anyway, that's it.
Until then,
we'll figure it out.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see, what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak. What up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak. What up? Oh, what up? Say what we got and talk the spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what, we got to go, the body flow too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.